Hello and welcome. In this video, we will go through the process of deploying the simple automation process that we created in our previous video. We'll deploy it to the UiPath Cloud Orchestrator. We will run the process from the orchestrator and see how the process gets executed from the orchestrator within your laptop or desktop, right? And then we would also go through the process of running a deployed process, a process that is deployed within the orchestrator, and how to run it from the UiPath robot or the agent installed within your laptop or desktop, right? So let's get started. We will the component that we will need to deploy this process right onto the UiPath orchestrator is the UiPath assistant or the agent or the robot, right? So we make sure that the agent is up and running, right? If you see, just a quick recap, right? In one of our previous videos, right, we configured the UiPath agent, right? So we provided the agent with the UiPath orchestrator URL. This is the cloud orchestrator, right? And then this is the machine key that represents our desktop within, or rather our laptop within the orchestrator, within the cloud orchestrator, right? So make sure that the agent or the UiPath assistant is up and running, right? And it shows connected and licensed, right? If it's not connected, we won't be able to deploy our automation onto the orchestrator, right? So we confirmed that the agent is connected to the orchestrator. The agent is up and running, right? Now what we'll do is we will go to UiPath Studio. So this is the process, the simple process we had created, right? It has a sequence, it has a message box, and that message box has a text, hello and welcome to the world of RPA, right? So the way to deploy this from Studio is you go to the publish menu item, right, on the top. Click on publish, and here we will leave the default package name. It will generate a version number on its own. So that's the good part of deploying any package or any automation with an orchestrator. So orchestrator takes care of the version control. So every time you make a change, deploy it back to the orchestrator, a new version of your automation of your package would be created and handled by the orchestrator, right? We'll click on next, and we will select. So we will leave this as default. So this is our cloud orchestrator tenant, right? We'll click on next again. We don't need a certificate, and we'll just click on publish, right? And our package is published in the cloud orchestrator, right? So now the next step is we will log in to the cloud orchestrator and see how this package looks like within the orchestrator, right? So we'll open up a browser window, right? And we will log into cloud orchestrator. We'll use our Google account, right? And it's Edified Tech in this case. And here we are, right? We'll click on the orchestrator URL to get into the orchestrator admin console. Now we'll go to packages, and now you see our test process is deployed in the orchestrator as a package, right? If I check, it created a version on its own, right? And you see it's right now tagged as active, right? So what we can, and we will come to how to activate it, right? So once the package is deployed in the orchestrator, right, the next step is we have to create a process that is mapped to this package, right? And only then we can run this package from the orchestrator, right? So the next step is we will go in and create a new a process, right? So we will click on processes, click on new, right? We'll have to select a package name. So from the drop down, we see our test process one, right? We can use the same display name or we can give it a different display name. So in this case, we will still use the same display name as our package name, right? Environment is Imran in this case, right? Remember in our very first video wherein we went through the setup steps around configuring the development environment, we had created the environment and the robot and the machine definition within the orchestrator, right? So we will deploy it in the same environment, right, which maps to my laptop in this case, right? And I'll just create, I can specify a job priority, uh, but in this case, so you can give it high, low, and normal. And this will come into play if you are trying to run multiple processes concurrently at the same time. So depending on this value, the orchestrator would decide which one to run first, right? So in our case, I'll just leave it normal and I'll just click on create. So now I have my process created here. Now, once I have a process in place, I can go in and run that process. And to do that, I'll have to go to jobs and click on start. I can select a process from here. So I will select my test process, right? And then it will show me the robot or the robots that are part of my environment, right? In this case, there's just one, so I'll just select this, right? So this will make this automation run from orchestrator onto my local laptop, right? And I'll just click on start. So the process will show. Now, if you see, the moment I triggered this automation from the orchestrator, right, the automation ran on my local desktop, right? And I get to see this message, right? And when I click on OK, you see it marked this process as successful, right? So what we just did was we deployed, we had deployed an automation project, right, from Studio onto Orchestrator, right? We defined, we deployed the package, right, which shows up under packages, right? We created a process that is pegged to this process, right? It's mapped to this package, right? And then we went to the jobs window and we ran the process from the orchestrator, right? And when we executed it from the orchestrator, the process actually ran on my laptop, right? On the machine that is defined within the orchestrator, right? Now, another way to run this process is I can go to my agent, right? And if you see, once you deploy any automation project from your studio, right, it will start showing up in your UiPath agent, right? And you can actually run this locally from your laptop or your desktop, right? Instead of going to the orchestrator, right? So what we'll do is we'll click on start from here. And this is another way of running the process, right? So in this case, we are not running it from the orchestrator, rather we are running it from the UiPath agent, which is installed locally in my laptop or desktop, right? So all I need to do is I need to click on start. And the moment I say start, you see, I get this message because the process ran within my laptop, right? And I say, okay, and that's it, right? Another thing that I like to quickly touch upon is the concept of logs, right? So, and if you see, once I executed it from the robot or the agent, I still see an execution in the orchestrator, right? And the source is assistant. In this case, when we previously ran it from the orchestrator, it was manual. In this case, it shows that the source is assistant, right? If you go here, you can also view logs for a process, right? And we will go through. We will have a separate video that talks about logs, right? But for now, keep in mind that every time you run an automation project or an automation process, logs are generated, right? And you can control what kind of logs are generated, and this is the place which we'll use often as part of our debugging process, right? So that's it for this video, and keep watching, and see you in another video wherein we'll go into other topics around how to make more complex automations, how to create automations that interact with user interfaces. Thank you.